Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. I was supposed to stream with you all tonight. I did need to be somewhere though, I apologize. And I'd actually tried to record an episode of the Mother of Stanky campaign, and I was going to have a battle like you're going to see here as well. But needless to say, my file did not survive. I wasn't able to upload it, didn't have time to remake it, but I do have time to record this, which was an amazing battle I got to have last night on a live stream with the folks over at the Gathering Stone. Sol and Victus put together a group here, including other YouTubers, and some of them are on my team. You'll see here at the end all the names. And we had a great time playing 4v4 sub-commanders in the wonderful Unconquered Sun mod. Now, if you are unfamiliar with this mod, then you have been hiding in a cave and living on another planet. No, I'm just kidding. Anyway, it is a lot of fun. The Unconquered Sun mod is an overhaul for Rome 2, which not only adds some playable factions, but it tweaks unit stats, it adds some units, it adds commander abilities, and is specifically made to be used in multiplayer, specifically in the sub-commanders genre, which is a genre where each player, I think, gets 7,500 gold to pick an army and fill a role. Now, my role in this particular battle was as player 2, which brings spears and missiles, and I am playing as the Servile Rebellion, which is kind of a Spartacus-themed faction. Pretty cool. And so I've got some Rebel Spears. My main line is Rebel Slingers. They are very trashy, but huge in number, and they can spread out very thin and absorb a lot of fire. Behind them, I have some very unique units here. Rebel Marksmen. These are going to be excellent bowmen who are also capable. I believe they go into melee with the Falcons as their secondary, so they are pretty capable in melee. And then I have another hybrid unit here. This is my Rebel Elite Skirmishers. This is a very competent slinger who is also quite good in melee after you expend the ammunition. My general is a Liberator. I like the Liberator here because I actually have some Stormcast Eternal Liberators on my table. Now these are a little different. These guys aren't covered in gold power armor. But in any case, these Liberators are still going to be cool nonetheless. They got some like Gladiator style helmets. Very tough spear unit. I am using some general abilities unique to the Servile Rebellion. That is going to help me basically be really strong and improve morale. With the Servile Rebellion, you're trying to keep morale up and keep those units in the fight to get the most out of them and allow your elite units to get in and do what they do. Now, let's look at my teammates here. As far as player 3 goes, that would be our cavalry, and this is going to be Scythia. And so Scythia's got several noble women over here for the horse archers. And then we have some step armored lancers, looks like 2 of those, a step noble lancer, and then a Scythian royal skirmisher cavalry. This is also a very competent melee cavalry once it spins the ammo. And then the Nervii are going to hold up the player 4 position, which is basically kind of a bring a little bit of anything you want with a couple of rules, like only 2 swords. But yeah, the Nervii are kind of filling in player 4. They've got an Oathsworn General, a Celtic Warrior, then some Levy Freemen, and some additional Celtic Slingers and Mighty Horse. And then as far as our main infantry line, that's going to be Carthage. Carthage is right here. They do have the Hannibal commander, as you can see the Thunderbolt and outmaneuver abilities here. And Carthage has brought some mercenary Samnite warriors through the main line here, and Libyan infantry, as well as some Gallic warriors. Now, our opponents are going to be the Roxolani, the Galatians, the Parthians, and the Bactrians. So no doubt we will be facing a hail of missiles and plenty of capable skirmish cavalry, as well as some deadly melee cavalry. There's some Median cav, multiple Sarmatian horse archers. Now, one thing to note here, again, this mod, it basically gives all the factions a purpose and lets them be able to play certain roles. And so the mod has given some spear warriors that actually have bows as well. So the step units are no longer solely locked into a horse. They have these step archers, and they have these Sarmatian marksmen here too, which are better armored archer. So very interesting units here from the Roxolani. So now that you can see the Roxolani is actually my counterpart here. They're playing player 2. So it should be interesting to see how this turns out. I believe the Bactrians and the Nervii are both player 4s based on what I'm seeing from them. Parthia is doing the player 3 role here with the mainline cav, including Royal Cataphract General and an Eastern Cataphract support. And then the Galatians are, of course, player 1, and they have some Galatian legionaries and swords for the mainline infantry. So I wanted to absorb as much missile fire as I could with my Rebel Slingers, and this does a couple of things. One, it puts the damage into my cheap units, which the Servile Rebellion has in droves, and it hopefully helps draw missiles out of them as well. So hopefully it's like a double thing. Like if they have to shoot at my slingers, they're not shooting at a more important target, and I'm able to kill some of them in the process. For every one of them I kill, they take their ammunition with them. Now, as I get my slingers in, I'm also going to move up my rebel elite skirmishers, my rebel marksmen, and I'm going to really start trying to put some kills down on the Roxolani. Now, what I don't want to do here is get my stuff killed early or too easily. I need to get the enemy to expend as much ammunition as possible, and I need to kill as many enemy skirmishers as possible. Ultimately, we are a little bit outclassed in terms of skirmishing, but I feel like that we can certainly put a dent into our enemies. Factory here did a great job of running a Hillman in and getting some disruption here on the Nervii, and then the Nervii are having to contend along with Hannibal's general unit here with a considerable amount of cavalry from Parthia. Some of those horse archers went into melee a little bit early here, or got caught, one or the other. They may have gotten caught because of Hannibal's ability. So we're going to see a lot of cavalry fighting over here, but there's some Eastern Spears to support. Nice shots here around the flanks, but that Bactrian horse archer is doing the same thing. Hannibal's going to escape and come on over, and we are able to hold our other flank in terms of cavalry. Now, initially, my skirmishers did great. They pushed back that front line of steppe archers. Those guys probably will come back from routing, but this does mean that I now have to start contending with Sarmatian marksmen. They will not be so easy to kill, as they have 40 armor, and it's going to be a little harder for me to bust through them, plus I've already taken some damage, but I'm going to try. The rebel marksmen are spread out thin as well, or sorry, the Sarmatian marksmen, you can see they can spread out thin a lot like my units, and it makes them a little harder to kill. But I still have a considerable amount of skirmish left. I'm going to put it to use. You can see me targeting those, and then my teammates were all just kind of biding our time, trying not to get overwhelmed too much in any one spot, though the Nervii are in a bit of trouble out here. They've kind of gotten outnumbered. There's not a whole lot else that can be given to them out there. They are doing a good job with what they have, but this is becoming a troubling situation for us in this flank. That is a lot of units. Now, in the meantime, you can see the Scythian noblewomen still over here, and I do believe that one of those units, was brought over here to support, so our cavalry player is doing the best to support the Nervii, but again, the Nervii are in a tough position at the moment. Now, our skirmish has been somewhat effective, and this has pulled the enemy up closer, so the fight's going to continue here. Their units came back from routing, though, and now I'm going to start to feel a little bit of pain here because the steppe archers weren't entirely dead. They routed due to losses, and now they're going to come back in. Look at this rapid volley here on the archers, too. So those marksmen are a real pain. I've been pouring a lot of fire into them, and they are not taking a tremendous amount of damage, but they are causing a lot of damage in return. Now, ideally, I would not want any of my marksmen to be killed from range, nor my elite skirmishers. That would be the ideal situation, but this isn't an ideal situation, and I gotta do what I gotta do. I got my rebel spearmen holding up some steppe spears, and then same thing, rebel spearmen ready to hold up. Carthage is moving into position to intercept the incoming melee attack, and the Nervii continue to fight to hold on to this flank under a now coordinated Bactrian, Parthian, and Galatian assault, and they have their work cut out for them. That Oathsworn general is going to go try and get into some combat. He's going to have to be careful. There's a lot of slingers back there. Those slingers could potentially be dangerous here. Those Celtic slingers did survive and could still be helping. And then meanwhile, you can see one of the Sarmatian marksmen, I finally get to put a good dent in it, and the other one has taken a little damage as well, but the melee is now going to properly get going. Carthage is going to move up to fill these gaps. We're going to do our best to slow down the Galatians. Now, they have a Tetrarch guard for their general back in the back. That is going to be a difficult unit to deal with. It's a very tough unit. Take a look at their stats here. Yeah, that is a punishing sword unit there. Plenty of defense. So that's going to be a tough one to deal with. Now, as my slingers run out of ammunition, I'm just going to charge them in, break the charges of the Galatians, start to wear them down, hold them a little longer. So this is all just part of the delaying tactics. My rebel slingers have used all of their ammunition, so there's really no need for me to do anything but go ahead and throw them in. And you can see that our our Scythian player here is helping us out. Carthage doing their best, but getting a little overwhelmed over here, but Scythia is attempting to balance that back out. I do not want to throw my units into combat yet. It's too early. We want to let the Samnites get in here and Libyans and let them do some work. They will be outmatched, I believe, by Galatia, but we need to let them do some work, and we do have the Oathsworn over here as well. though it is going to be under fire. And you can see the Nervii have suffered a lot of losses. They still have some of their scout riders there, though, so that was a good call. And then I'm going to take my elite skirmishers and fall back. My elite skirmishers have only taken 2 losses. These guys have ammo left, so I need to spend the rest of their ammo, and I want to hold them into late game, and these will be very useful melee combatants in the late game. So we definitely don't want to go throw those units in early here. At least I don't think I do. We'll see. But yeah, you can see that Tetrarch Guard in here. Carthage is definitely having a very difficult fight here. Part of the reason why I couldn't throw my stuff in here too early is because we're being threatened by a lot of cavalry. And if I do, we could lose all these skirmishers. And again, I don't want to throw these hybrid units in until they've spent their ammunition, or else I'm wasting ammunition. So I started to target the Tetrarch Guard, and I'm hoping I can eat through some of their hit points before committing into a melee anywhere. Now the Samnite Warriors are doing their best. They are definitely in an overwhelmingly difficult fight now. One of them rolled around the flank here. It's a little too far removed, and it's now going to be singled out and destroyed. This unit probably should have stayed a little bit closer to home, so this is going to be an unfortunate loss for us. And right now, the battle's not looking great for our team. We have a lot of challenges we're going to have to deal with. Fortunately, though, my work here on the Tetrarch Guard is definitely paying some dividends. It's taken quite a few casualties, but we're under threat here by more Galatian legionaries. I'm holding my Liberators and my freed Gladiator Spearmen for as long as I can, because I understand that we still have to face down Eastern Cataphracts, we still have to face down Bactrian Horse Archers. I believe there was some kind of elite horse skirmisher, or a noble horse archer. Yeah, so we've still got very dangerous cavalry at hand. You can see over here the Samnite, like I said, it got itself too far extended. And a pretty epic fight here, though. They managed to still get quite a few kills. So, well done by the Samnite heavy infantry there, but they are too far removed. But look at this, some of these units did quite well here, holding out. And again, my units, I'm just working on spending all of their ammunition and waiting for that appropriate melee. See the Nervii now running out of support units here. I did use my freed Gladiator Spearmen to help intercept that Noble Blood Cavalry and destroy it. But I am now tied up with a few Galatian swords that I would rather not be tied up with. And you can see this spending of the ammo hopefully will come in handy now. I believe our enemies still have some ammunition too, which is not great news for us. But at this moment, spending my ammo on the Tetrarch Guard is not a bad call. That Tetrarch Guard needs to be damaged, and it's going to have to be worked. This is a very tight battle, I would say right now, against us in terms of whether or not my team is going to win. I would bet against us at the moment. But you never count yourself out. You got to keep fighting. That's certainly what we intend to do. See if we can turn it around. My general is still very strong. I still have my special abilities, which can make my units extremely strong here at the end. And if the enemy makes a mistake with some of its key units, like the Eastern Cataphracts, like the Royal Cataphracts, we might be able to turn this one around. But it's going to require us to play properly and then hope for a mistake on the part of our enemies. I still have a little bit of ammunition left on some of these Rebel Elite Skirmishers, and that Tetrarch Guard is tired of getting shot to death, so it pulled away. So I'm going to instead maybe pour some of my ammunition into these Galatian Legionaries, which are now unwilling targets at the moment. But that Rebel Elite Skirmisher already has 86 kills, and I got 43 on that marksman and 74 on the other, so I managed to do pretty good with those Elite Skirmishers. You need to, they're expensive, but the more important part here is trying to keep them alive to help me in this melee late. Because there are still Galatian troops left. I think Carthage, honestly, did a pretty admirable job, considering that one of their units got caught out behind enemy lines over here. This is all that's left from Galatia, so I think that's quite the honorable role. And the same thing from the Nervii. They were in a tough position over here, and to have escaped with their Oathsworn still alive is very important. It's already got 99 kills as well, so we're going to need everything we can get. Unfortunately, we are under fire, and my free Gladiator Spearmen are not going to do well in this situation. I'm going to have to just fall back. This bit of ammo they have left is really bad for me because I need all of these units intact. So this is really bad for me right now to be copping all this fire, but I don't really have a unit that I can stand up front and take the damage with, other than maybe a regrouped, this Rebel Spear here that's regrouped. So I probably should have pulled this one back sooner and brought that Rebel Spear up front. so that it can take the fire and not my better, more capable units here. Because like that free gladiator spearman has not gotten any value so far in the battle because it hasn't been thrown into combat and just got its face shot off there. So I'm going to use this unit to kind of body block. And you can see over here that the Bactrians are definitely wanting a piece of us, so they bring their Eastern Spears, Bactrian Noble Horse, very tough cavalry. And they can continue to support. The Bactrian Horse Archers are quite good in melee after they spend their ammunition. So we've still got problems back here. This Royal Skirmisher Cavalry, also very capable in the melee if they have used their ammunition. So we will see what happens, but again, this is a difficult situation. The Eastern Cataphracts come over, so I lent some support with my freed Gladiator Spears. I've turned on their cavalry counter tactics, rapid advance, trying to get them into the battle as quick as possible. Thunderbolt was used to help hold these Eastern Cataphracts. Their armor, though, provides them an enormous amount of protection in this fight. That extra bonus versus large is handy, but again, the armor here is a real critical difference. When you look at weapon damage, my Gladiator Spears do not do much armor piercing. So despite the bonus, the Eastern Cataphracts get a tremendous amount of protection, and I lose the the free Gladiator Spear. Not a good situation for me. At this point, I've brought up one of my Rebel Marksmen. It gets routed. I have another one here. This is just a bad situation where I'm kind of stuck absorbing ammunition. And I'm holding this elite Rebel unit here because they will be good in a melee late. And then my general will be solid in a melee late. But again, I cannot waste these units. The Oathsworn are going to go ahead and put a charge together. That's Hannibal there, buffing us up. That's going to increase our acceleration and speed. There's some Libyan infantry that survived there as well. So we're going to go in for a final move here. I've got to help support with my Rebel Elite Skirmishers. And then I also need to control these cavalry. So right here I used a bunch of my abilities all at once to try and block all this cavalry. This is the very elite Royal Cataphracts rolling in. I tried to brace for that charge, but we are definitely going to take damage off of that Royal Cataphract. We will deal some in return, and I've got other spears helping to push them back. But fortunately for me, that Royal Cataphract does start to eat some damage on the way out of there. And honestly, this fight starts to turn around a little here for us. We get a pretty good engagement. This Tetrarch Guard, though, is going to be a real problem. But the Oathsworn got in. They got a whole bunch more kills. My Rebel Elite Skirmishers got involved in the combat. They are also helping to fight off Eastern Cataphracts. I do believe they fight with a spear. So they have become very handy. That Eastern Cataphract is in bad shape. My general fended off a Royal Cataphract charge and is now busy crushing through some of these slingers, but that Royal Cataphract has not given up on me yet, and the Oathsworn are coming in to help. So I'm going to take some more damage here. Every time that Royal Cataphract charges me, we're going to lose units. My armor will help, and the fact that my units or spears will help. They got a battle rhythm on that Cataphract right now, but I have even more spears. We're going to force them to retreat here, but as they try and force retreat away from me, they're going to suffer some casualties. They're going to pay a price for that as they pull away from my general, who had that rebellion ability intact there too. So the Royal Cataphracts took a beating, and then the power bar actually starts to swing back in our favor here. So it's looking pretty even. This is going to be a very close fight. The biggest problems we have right now are this Noble Horse Archer and that Tetrarch Guard. Obviously, the Royal Cataphracts are a problem, but there's only so much we can do about them. That Noble Women got caught out a little bit there, unfortunately for us. And then right now we're kind of reconsolidating our forces. The Tetrarch Guard has to die. And then right here we also wanted to get rid of this Sarmatian Spear Warrior real quick. Look at these elite skirmishers, now up to 158 kills. So they've picked up, 70, 80 kills in melee? Yeah, unfortunately for me, this Noble Horse Archer still has ammunition as well, and I can't catch it. So the power bar actually swung back against us a little bit here. The Noble Women doing a good job putting some shots in the back of that Tetrarch Guard. Here comes that Oathsworn. Here comes my Rebel Spears, Libyan Infantry. But again, the Tetrarch Guard, very tough unit. You can see its melee defense is extremely high. It's going to make this thing hard to touch. So they will be very, very tough in a melee. And then once again, I'm left facing off against multiple cavalry units. And the charge of these units is going to be brutal in and of itself. And you can see that my rebellion ability there wearing off. And we've got a I Am Spartacus ability popped here, which will go in phases. It'll make us unbreakable during the final phase, which will be really helpful. And we're going to see if we can get some damage done. Look at those Royal Cataphracts. They get buried into this fight. My general takes a lot of damage, but the Royal Cataphracts are definitely starting to feel the heat here. As when they charge into these spear units, they're facing up against that bonus versus large, and they're going to continue to take a lot of hit point damage, but they don't have to live forever. They just need to do enough damage to get that power bar. And look at that Tetrarch Guard, almost dead, but still fighting. Down to 16 men, and actually just stabilized a little bit in that fight. But again, look at this Rebel Elite Skirmisher. These guys have picked up almost 100 kills now in melee. That I Am Spartacus, I got another Rebellion ability off here too, so this is going to help hold my units in the fight a little bit longer. This is my desperation attempt to finish this fight, to put an end to it once and for all. Those Elite Skirmishers and other units, though, were all fighting near to the death. This Cataphract avoided me and went for the weaker units here. That was a very nice call. But I am able to try and come in and pinch this unit into a fight, but its heavy mass is going to allow it to escape at least one more time. I've still got a few free Gladiator Spears, and that Oathsworn fought valiantly here, almost up to 100 kills, but now we are just totally surrounded by cavalry and down to very few numbers. And Bactrian Horse Archer is going to charge in. It can't stay there long. It will get absolutely shredded by my Liberators. And now we're going to start to see the Rebellion ability wear off, and as that wears off, it's going to be rough here. I decided to pop the Chant ability on my Liberators, which will hopefully help shore up these other units here, keep them in the fight longer. I need to keep them here, and I'm doing my best to, but it's going to get a little overwhelming, and so my team is going to go down here. Only just, though. It was an excellent fight. The other team had to fight down to the very bitter end here, but there's no way I can stop the remnants of these Eastern Cataphracts, much less that noble Horse Archer. Royal Cataphracts, but it was an excellent attempt on the part of my general. The kills that my general got here are mostly all expensive horsemen, so those 100 kills are pretty important. I can't face two directions at once, unfortunately, and I can try to respond, but it's just too little, too late. We're going to be crushed and killed, but whether it was killed on this battlefield or killed in the arena, the Servile Rebellion only expects one thing, which is to die gloriously in combat, and gloriously we died in combat. But thank you to Vortigant Sauce. Joe on it there was another YouTuber. Appreciate him being there. He did a great job with the Nervii. That was a very tough fight he had. Booty playing here with us, doing a great job with Carthage. A lot of kills there in melee. I thought that was very impressive considering up against, again, Galatia, which is a very tough enemy. Maximax did an excellent job with his cavalry and did not make life easy for me in trying to kill those Eastern Cataphracts despite having multiple charges into deadly spear units. He still managed to pick up 222 kills because that Royal Cataphract is a beastly unit. Well done. And then Magnus here also doing an excellent job with Bactria. This was an excellent support army for Bactria. Those Bactrian Horse Archers are very effective. The Noble Horse are also very good. And then like just these mix of support units here. Very well done by Magnus, and the marketable skills here with Galatia. That Tetrarch Guard was a thorn in our side up to near the very end, and a pretty good performance out of the rest of those Galatian units too. I'll let you all see some of the things here. Sauce did a good job with the Royal Scythians here. Got a lot of kills on his cavalry. And then Joe's general really did some work here, and honestly, like I said, Joe had a tough bit of it. He didn't have a ton of support and had to hold out against some very tough odds up against Magnus and... I believe it was, Magnus and Ninja, possibly Ninja Keeper's general, but certainly Maximax's cavalry here. So that was not going to be easy. But yeah, fun stuff. Hope you all enjoyed it. Man, I really liked these skirmish units. Look at this. We picked up a double chevron on the elite skirmishers and a double chevron on our general. So that is always a good deal there. HeirofCarthage signing up for now. I'll see you all soon with some more action in Total War Rome 2.